Hi, I'm Michele Neff Hernandez. I'm the Chief Executive Officer at Soaring Spirits International, and I have been so fortunate to be able to work with the National Fallen Firefighter community for many years. I'm here today to talk a little bit about getting to know yourself after you experience the death of someone that you love. Whether the person who died was your spouse or partner, your child, your mother or your father, your sibling, cousin, someone who you worked with that you deeply loved. Whenever someone pivotal in our life dies, it causes a shift in who we are, and it causes a change in the way we view the world. And so as we begin to walk through the experience of grieving someone we love so much, a portion of what the work we need to do is getting to know ourselves. How have we been influenced by the death that we've experienced? Not only the death of our person and the absence of that person in our daily lives, but also in the way we perceive the world. It's such an important question to ask ourselves, like, what's different about me? How has this experience impacted me? So I like to think of this in 3 steps, and the first one is to identify the changes that you see in yourself. Sometimes those can be things like a change in perspective. You view the world a little differently. You might not be as concerned with some of the small things that used to bother you before. Or the flip side may be true. Small things that you never gave much attention to might suddenly be very important. Maybe you live in a different place. Maybe you have a different job. Maybe you have priorities that have changed and you don't fit in the jobs that you used to have or the life that you used to lead. Perhaps you have discovered some advocacy that matters to you now. Whatever the shifts that have happened in you, take a moment to just identify what those are. I'm going to give you an example. The work that I do for Soaring Spirits is definitely influenced by the fact that my husband was killed 15 years ago. I became very familiar with the experience of being widowed, and I decided that experience and the passion for serving other people who'd had that experience was going to shape the career that I chose in the future. So that's just one way that my grief experience has altered sort of the path that my life was taking at that time. So the first thing to do, though, for you is to identify, how has grief changed me? How has grieving my special person changed me? So that's the first step, identifying just a couple things that are different about the life you're living now compared to the life you were living when they were alive. The next piece of that is to explore the things that fill your heart. So let me clear that up a little bit. What do I mean by that? There are things that spark our interest. There are things that, whether it's experiences with people, whether it's experiences at work, whether it's experiences through advocacy, whether it's spending time with loved ones, it could be a hobby. What is it that fills your heart and makes you feel alive? The reason this question is so important is because you may not know the answer. Maybe what used to fill your heart is no longer filling your heart after the death of your person. And so that's going to lead us to the next word that I want to offer you, which is to explore. So we need to take a minute to explore some choices. Try some things. Testing out new hobbies, testing out new places to visit, testing out new relationships, being able to have sort of a trial and error experience with life is an important way to start discovering what does fill your heart. What are the things that can spark your interest now, which may have not sparked your interest before, or maybe you never even thought about them. It's also possible that something in your past may be coming back up for you. Maybe a long ago hobby that you once loved is something that can begin to fill your heart again. The thing is this, when someone you love dies, there's this huge absence in our life, and we can never fill that again with a person. We're always going to experience the sadness that the person we love is not physically present. We're always going to miss and love them. So I'm not suggesting that you're going to fill the space they used to have with something else. But what I am suggesting is that looking around to discover the things that spark that interest in you is a critical part of learning who you are now, a critical part of discovering your new self. And I know you might not have wanted a new self, and I'm sorry to have to tell you that grieving someone you love that much does change you. But what I can tell you is that exploring new opportunities is a way to discover what this new person, the person who has experienced the death of someone they love so much and had to grieve them, what does that person need today? What are the things that could fill that person's heart in a different way, but also in a meaningful way? So our first word is identify the changes. Next is explore some options and possibilities for sparking that renewed sense of interest and passion in yourself. And then the third thing, this one's the hard one, it's to take a risk. I'm going to ask you to take a risk that trying something new might bring some joy into your life. And maybe you have joy already, but adding a little bit of joy that's particular for you, that feeds your passion, that fills your heart, that's the way that you continue being able to interact in your world and be able to be present for the people that you love. We can't pour out of an empty jug. So until we're able to refill for ourselves, our passion, our love, our joy, our contentment, we can't offer that to anyone else. And so being willing to risk testing out some of these things that you may have explored. So let's say you find a new hobby and you want to give it a try. You can start easily by watching YouTube videos. It doesn't have to be an all-in kind of thing, but then perhaps you step out and you attempt to be a part of a community that shares that same experience. And before you know it, your life is populated with new people, with new experiences, with new passions. Now, let me just say, that's not going to remove your grief. That's not going to replace your person, but it is an opportunity for you to fill your life with things that matter. And when we fill our lives with things that matter, that is our best opportunity for living a meaningful life today while also loving and appreciating the life we lived with our person. So just a quick recap. First of all, spend a little time identifying the changes that you have experienced in yourself since the time that your person has died. Next, explore some new options for sparking interest and love and excitement for perhaps a new passion that could be a part of your next life. And then the third one is to take a risk and give it a try. If it doesn't work, that's what trial and error is all about, right? Is try it out. If it's not for you, then put that one aside and try something else. But every time we take the risk to attempt something new and discover if it's something that might fit into our lives, we have the opportunity to embrace possibility. And when we do that, sometimes we're very surprised by the joy that comes from just being willing to take a risk. I thank you so much for spending this time with me today, and I really honor the love and the ongoing commitment you have to the person who you're missing right now. I just want you to remember they're always going to be a part of your life. No matter what you create, no matter what beautiful things are ahead for you, that person will always be a part of you. Thank you, and I'll look forward to a new video.